This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty!
Take a lap.
Oh, yo. Welcome to the show. I'm your man, Smitty. You are watching the Fantasy Football Show live. And where are my tunes? We've got a solid show planned already. I mean, I wing a lot of these things, to be quite honest with you. I plan out very little. You guys know me by now. I do so many live streams. I do so many Instagram lives. I do so many shows, so many uploads. If I was literally trying to plan almost anything out more than an hour before I go live, I literally I sit down about an hour before and I plot all this out and go. First of all, news is ever changing. And when you have to deal with planning out a show, your entire show could be flipped completely upside down, if you're planning this thing the night before. Kyler Murray news breaks today. Christian McCaffrey news breaks today. All this stuff has to be done on a whim. What's going on, Rob? What's up? What's up, Cad? What's up, Avery? What's up, Powers? What's up, Logan? All of you. Order. GMC. Glad to have you here. Let's get right into the news. Kyler Murray. What have I been telling you all for months and months and months? Where's my Kyler Murray clip? I've been talking about this for quite some time. Kyler Murray is a real threat to eventually, potentially, walk away from the game. Now, this is just, him speaking in general about it when someone asked him about it. But I've been talking about this for months. And I'll read what I wrote, what I put up on Instagram. So, first of all, the report was, according to azcardinals.com, Kyler Murray continues to talk about playing baseball at some point. Now, I said this for a long time now. I've talked about this, and people kind of came at me when I said that in Arizona, before the Deshaun Watson drama unfolded, okay, there was a lot of fan-driven. Let me remind you, fan-driven. The words coming out of my mouth, fan-driven rumors were that the Cardinals should trade Kyler Murray and an additional first-round pick in the future for Deshaun Watson. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, especially fantasy worlds are like, whoa, calm down here. Kyler Murray and a first-rounder? We're talking football, not fantasy, okay? Watson is on another level physically. Let me reword that. His talent in football is on another level than Kyler's right now. I'm in Arizona. I'm a Cardinal fan. I know what I'm talking about. So take off your fantasy football helmet real quick and try to absorb what I'm trying to tell you. Before the drama unfolded, in Arizona, a big movement was happening on local radio shows, in forums, everywhere you could think of, that were saying, people were going, why don't we go after the potentially available Deshaun Watson in a trade and give up a first rounder and Kyler and get ourselves to a Super Bowl appearance right away out the gate. Watson's different. Watson, talent-wise on the field, is different. Kyler is good. Kyler, fantasy-wise, is amazing. In fantasy football, you could argue he's the number 3 quarterback in fantasy football. But from a football perspective, not to mention you'd put Watson and Hopkins back together, which would just be crazy. We'd be the Phoenix Texans, the Arizona Texans, whatever you want to call us. We'd have to rename our team. But this was talked about. And sometimes fan-driven rumors can create a trade. That can create buzz and stuff that might not be there. Then the drama unfolded. Deshaun Watson may never play again. He may not play in 2021. He may play half a year in 2021. No one truly knows because there are no legitimate updates from what I've already told you guys the last month or so. I've updated you. I have the most information on the Deshaun Watson situation more than anybody. I've updated you all from the legal perspective, the legal analysis, the waiting game. We're waiting at different stages of the civil stuff because the civil stuff is driving the criminal track, because without the civil accusations, if they settle and go away, the criminal side has no legs to stand on, so it would fall flat. But it is waiting to move on based on what's going on with the civil. It's a big mess, and for people that want to say Watson's gonna be fine, like blindly say it, like they're just optimistic. You know, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't know the details of this. Everything could settle. Okay, that's on the whole nother note. Back to Kyler. This is what I wrote today on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram at The Fantasy Football Show, just go to IG and type in The Fantasy Football Show. Okay, you go to Instagram, you search, and I got news like this on there. Not to mention, it's all found at sleeperu.com, which can be found at smitty1.com. I make it as easy as possible to find me, okay? So don't tell me, hey, where do I get your stuff, Schmitty? Everything is right there. In this news report I write, I've reported on this for months now, and it's something that I brought up right when the Deshaun Watson trade rumors started swirling. But before the Watson drama began to unfold, there were initial Arizona rumors brewing, mostly fan-driven, and again months ago, that supported a Watson for Kyler narrative. And again, this is before the Watson drama. Kyler was supposed to play baseball first. If you guys remember when Kyler Murray was drafted, what was he drafted? Like top 5, right? Top 5 in baseball. Somebody confirm what pick he was. He was like number 3 or number 2 or 4 in MLB draft. In the MLB draft, he was like number 4, number 5. He said, hold on, I'm going to quickly play, finish out football, and I'll be right back. Hold my seat. And he goes to the NFL. Like, you know, he made a business decision. What's up, Brian? Brian from LinkedIn. What's up, Brian? We got some LinkedIn people in the house. What's up? What was I saying? I get sidetracked really easily, Brian. Brian, you just threw off my whole show. No, I'm just kidding. He said, wait a minute, hold my beer, I'll be right back. He didn't come back. He went to get ice. He never came back, okay? He left baseball, the MLB, just sitting there waiting for him to return. Okay, now they have issues because they were expecting this man to return and he didn't. Hit the thumbs up on your way in the door. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler in 2.5 years said, you know what, 9th overall, thank you, Kenny. 2.5 years, he walks away from the game. I wouldn't be surprised. I've reported on this for months now, and people didn't like it. Now that there's a legitimate source out there, or the actual ArizonaCardinals.com's reporting it, now I think people are going to listen. What's up, Voice of Reason? I don't think he walks away if the Cardinals are winning. I don't think he walks away if the Cardinals are protecting him. I don't think he walks away if everything is smooth and there's a reason to be excited every single day he puts on a Cardinals uniform. Now, if things are very rocky in Arizona, if we can't protect him, if he is constantly getting demolished and clobbered because he is a small man. He is a small man. His line is here. And he literally, like, as much as I love Kyler, this is Kyler Murray behind his line. Okay? There's a reason Kyler Murray rolls outside of the pocket. Okay? Where's my music? If Kyler Murray's getting beat up and he has these aspirations to play baseball someday, he will at one point say to himself, will I have the ability, if I'm not winning, if I'm not having fun, if I'm getting clobbered, if my skills in football are deteriorating because I'm getting hit so much or whatever. If he feels decline, or if he feels that the team's not winning, if he's not loving football, he will at some point. I'm just telling you, it's been on his mind for a while, and it's coming out right now too. He will at some point contemplate, hey, if I keep getting hit like this, I won't be able to play baseball. Hey, I'm getting older. The opportunity to play baseball won't be there anymore. He will be forced to make a decision at some point where he says, hey, I'm going to go ahead and just stay in the NFL. We're doing good things. We can win a Super Bowl. I need to stay focused. Or we're losing. I'm getting clobbered. I'm always banged up. You know, a lot of things could fall apart. Now, I don't think anybody needs to freak out and go trade their Kyler Murray shares in Dynasty. I'm not trying to create a massive panic. I'm merely telling you, I've been talking about this for months. And my boy Yarks came on here and talked about it as well. In fact, he brought it up to me first when we were discussing this one time, and it has stayed with me ever since. I have Justin Herbert number 3, and it's not just because of this. A lot of people ask me, why do I have Herbert 3 over Kyler? Are you crazy? We're talking Dynasty. Kyler is a beast. This is part of that equation. Why I have Herbert number 3 and Kyler number 4. Herbert's only going to get better. A lot of you that like to judge Herbert right now for what he is. Oh, but he won't do this. Or can you see Herbert? For Herbert to be your third-ranked quarterback, Smitty, do you understand that Herbert would have to throw for like 38 TDs? Actually, Bob, I do understand that. And guess what, Bob? I am predicting that. I do believe Herbert has the potential to get better, Bob. I do. Unlike you, you've already determined this is how good Herbert will be. What we've seen is what we'll get. He's done. Herbert's already maximized his value. That's what Bob or Steve or Philip, we'll start calling them Phillips on the show. That's what a Philip would say. A Karen. Okay? That's what a Philip would say on the show. The Philip would say, we already know what we got out of Herbert. He can't get better. Look, a lot of you doubters of Josh Allen, that you can't find him anymore. They went running and they hid. Josh Allen, as a rookie, I said would be a top 4 quarterback in the NFL and a top 4 fantasy quarterback. Coming out of his rookie year, running the football, everything this guy did in his first couple seasons. Everybody said, oh, he'll never be an accurate quarterback. He will never be a very good passer. He needs to run. He's okay throwing the football. His accuracy will never get better. Everybody judging Josh Allen as if he cannot improve and become a better passer, become the elite quarterback that he is today. I get so tired of people making these concrete evaluations and trying to lock them in after a player's played 1 or 2 years. Justin Herbert will get better. Justin Herbert is my number 3 dynasty quarterback in fantasy football, and there's nothing you can do about it because that's how I feel, and this is my show. Kyler's still 4. I'm an Arizona Cardinal fan. I'm in Arizona. I'm objective. I'm objective. I don't tie myself to anything Cardinal, ASU. I can stay objective. I'm proud to be who I am and where I'm from. Walter Cronkite, School of Journalism. I'm proud. I'm proud of it. But I'm objective. Herbert's better than Kyler, in my opinion, for the long term. Maybe in 2021. So if we're talking dynasty, hey, Smitty, you saying that Kyler can't outscore Herbert in 2021? No, I'm not saying that at all. Kyler could absolutely outscore him. Kyler could be the number 2 or 1 fantasy quarterback in 2021. But guess what you do in Dynasty? You do have to consider year 2, 3, 4, 5, because in 2 or 3 years, I think Herbert will be better, consensus-wise. Now, I get it. Not everybody's going to agree. That's fine. I don't care. It's okay. We don't have to agree on everything all the time. But Kyler Murray, as I say right here in my conclusion, for now, Kyler is a top 3 to 5. I wouldn't call anyone crazy for liking a couple other guys more. There are a lot of talented quarterbacks in fantasy football in 2021 and beyond. There's no reason somebody can't like an A-Rod number 3 or 4 in 2021 redraft over Kyler. It's not crazy. It's not. Anybody could like Lamar number 2 or 3. I don't, but it doesn't mean I'm right. We'll find out. So that's Kyler. It's kind of floating around now, even though I've been talking about it for months. It's a little bit annoying, to be honest with you, that now everyone's speaking about this. When I said it, it sounded so dumb to everybody. Well, guess what? It's true. It's true. Next piece of news. So that's the Kyler stuff. Let's go to the Miles Sanders news and talk about this boy, Miles Sanders, who everybody's so amped on and upset at me because I have Miles Sanders doubt. Like, how can you hate Miles Sanders, Smitty? He is so good. He's so good. We keep. I'll read this. I think I put it good here. So first of all, the news is Eagles running back coach downplayed the idea of an every down back, and he said some other things relating to, like, you know, an every down back. You got to have this, you got to have that. Basically just said, to be an every down back, it's pretty hard. He didn't say, oh, we've got that guy. Okay, so what I write here is, how long are fantasy worlds going to bank on consistently disappointing fantasy football assets that cannot escape their environmental traps? Sanders doesn't have anything close to safe value in round 3. I'd argue potentially round 4 too. He's a hard pass unless he falls a dozen or more ADP slots in the coming months. Even then, he is no lock to be grabbed by me in the 4th round. Why? Because there are safer options in the 4th round, especially the top. You want to argue him at the bottom of 4, I'm okay with it. Again, back to the quarterback thing. You can do whatever you want, and I support you. I will be here for you when things fall apart and you need to find a replacement for your Miles Sanders. Look, Kenny Gainwell is one of the better PPR backs in the 2021 draft class. He comes on board to mess with Miles Sanders' PPR work, and you got a running backs coach here in Singleton that says, hey, you being an every down back is tough, especially in his mind, because you got to have all these different components: pass protection, PPR potential, and Gainwell comes in as potentially a better receiving back already than Miles Sanders. You might like Miles Sanders. You might say, hey, he can catch a football too, Smitty. But guess what? Miles Sanders or Kenny Gainwell can catch a football. And I know everybody's going to say, but Sanders is so talented, Smitty. How can they not? Look, when he was going 14 overall last year, his ADP was number 13 or 14 overall. You know what I was told left and right, shoved in my face constantly? Why would the Eagles not use him? Who do they have? There's no competition. You got Boston, what's his name? Boston Scott? Great Scott, Smitty. You think Boston Scott's going to come in and take away Miles Sanders' work? That's what you all came to me with, you Miles Sanders believers. And I don't blame you. You owned him. I know anybody defending him. If you're still defending Miles Sanders at like 3rd round value after this report, all the reports I've thrown your way all offseason long, if you are still defending adamantly that Miles Sanders is a top 3 round player, you 100% own him in like 5 or 6 dynasty leagues. I can tell you that right now. There's no other explanation for you to dig your heels in and refuse to accept that Miles Sanders is as risky this year as he was last year. You have Doug Peterson, clear as day last year, was a running back by committer. This man committed to the committee. And all of you that were supporting Miles Sanders adamantly and aggressively toward me would just say, he's talented, Smitty. How can he not be the starter, Smitty? He's talented. Doug Peterson doesn't care. And apparently the Eagles running back coach is telling you as clearly as he can that he doesn't care either. But people won't listen. People won't listen. I would take CeeDee Lamb over Miles Sanders in a heartbeat. And guess who's available? I would say almost every single time Sanders is on the board and you're about to take him, CeeDee Lamb. And you're going to pass on CeeDee Lamb for Miles Sanders because you feel you need a running back? Why not go and get Mike Davis later? And I'm not saying I love Mike Davis as your running back too or something, but it depends on your build. But why not take CeeDee Lamb and run the risk that you got to take a running back like that later or something? Or you find a different avenue to go with your running back stable, but forcing Sanders because you need a running back when you have a CeeDee Lamb staring you in the face. Sometimes a Clyde Edwards-Helaire will fall to the top of the 4th round. I don't get it. I don't understand it. An order says he's been taking Lamb in the 3rd. You're part of the problem, bro. You need to take a lap immediately.
Take a lap.
Okay, because order, stop. We got to stop messing with Lamb's ADP. There are a lot of people, order, that will come and say, hey, why you keep talking CeeDee Lamb in the 3rd round? He's like going in the 5th in my league. I just saw him go in the 5th round. I saw him go in the late 5th, Smitty. Hey, Smitty, he goes at the back of the 4th. Order, stop it. Everybody trying to draft Lamb in the 3rd round, you're ruining his ADP. Okay, this man belongs in round 4 so we can all clean up and win our leagues. He'll still probably win you a league in the 3rd round because he could be a top 1 to 5 wide receiver. You know what I'm saying, order? But stop. Don't drive this man into the 3rd round if we don't have to. We were doing a mock draft the other night, and one of you took him at like 2.12 so you could snipe me, and you're ruining his ADP. Don't ruin his ADP, order. Stop it. Stop it. I like Monty. Yes, Kyle. I like Monty over Sanders. Number 1, Montgomery was the 4th finishing running back in fantasy football last year. Yes, I know their schedule was easy. Yes, I know Cohen was out. Bro, I get it. That's why Monty is a 4th round pick. Okay? I think Monty's concern is all baked into his value. If not, Monty would be a 1st rounder based on his last year finish. Everybody that keeps saying that, it's garbage. I don't understand. It's so frustrating. Hey, Smitty, why do you like Monty? Why do you like Monty? I don't love Monty. Okay, Nagy's the coach in Chicago. I don't love Nagy play calling. Nagy's gonna play call. Nagy's gonna play call. That is bad. They announced it. Nagy will be calling plays in 2021 from everything we're hearing. That is horrible. Horrible news. Okay? But Monty finished number 4 out of all running backs in fantasy football. I don't love Monty. Why? If he finished number 4, why am I telling you to draft him in the 4th round? The people that come to me and say, Smitty, why do you like Monty? He's going to fail you. Why are you predicting big things for Monty? I'm not predicting big things for Monty. If I was, he'd be in the first round because he finished number 4. Oh my God. It's frustrating. But when you're talking about Monty versus Sanders, I'm going with Monty. Monty's got his own problems. He's got Damian Williams. That coaching staff is looking to use, I can tell you. I don't know how much. Cohen coming back. Nagy calling plays. There are a lot of problems around Monty. But number 4 finisher going in the 4th round. I think we've got the baked-in risk covered. Okay? Swift or Sanders? That's a good question. Honestly, neither. At their ADPs, neither. And I don't even want to answer the question because it makes it look like I want you to draft one of them, and I don't. So, even though we're not in fantasy football court just yet, denied. We'll get there, though. We'll get there. Lamb over A-Rob. Absolutely, Johnny Lee. Okay, you can argue A-Rob. I'm not mad at you. I'm not going to make you take a lap on this question because A-Rob could outscore him. I'm not saying it's not in the realm of possibility. A-Rob could be a top 8 wide receiver. It's possible, but I don't think a incoming rookie quarterback, I know he may not start week 1. That's what's being told now. Let's wait and see what happens as we get closer and closer to September. I'm tired of everybody talking in absolutes about who's starting, who's not starting. He won't start. Lance can't start. Jimmy G has to start. We're in June, people. We are in June. It is June 10. It is not September 1. No one knows. Saquon's going to be limited to 12 carries a game. Have you heard this, Smitty? No, he's not. And even if he's going to be limited or not limited, you don't know that. Nobody knows that. His own coach doesn't truly know how many carries they're going to give Saquon Barkley in week 1 on June 10, talking about September. It's ridiculous. Hunt or... Oh, I don't know. Somebody asked a question, and I don't know what the real question was. I see the answers. But yes, Johnny Lee, I'm going Lamb over A-Rob 10 times out of 10. Because as you've known, maybe you're brand new, Johnny Lee, but Lamb to me could be the surprise wide receiver that you would never even dream of ranking in the top 1 to 4. That will absolutely, in my mind, be the best candidate outside of Justin Jefferson, who some people do rank 1 to 4, so that's why he kind of doesn't qualify. But of the people that you would be like, wow, of those guys outside of the top 4 regular wide receivers, I could say Lamb could be number 1 in fantasy football wide receiver ranking at the end of the year. Scoring. I'm not saying he will. It's supposed to drop your jaw because that's the kind of deep call I'm trying to pull out of my rear end for you, Johnny. And it's Lamb. It's not A-Rob. A-Rob has such a diehard support group. I get it. I appreciate it. I respect it. But it reminds me of the A-Rob supporters remind me of the Julio supporters. It's like, I don't know if it's the typical person that doesn't want to let go of the past, or they want to, I don't know. If Julio can still do it, maybe I'm not getting older. As soon as Julio gets old, that means I'm old. And it can't happen. Julio's got to be number 5. He's got to be top 5. Because if he isn't, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for me? Don't do it. Don't go, Julio. Don't go. Same thing with A-Rob. Like, A-Rob is not an older guy. But people that want to lock on to this narrative that in Dynasty he's a top 5 guy, he's not. He's not. Could he play like that one year and not another year? Yeah, maybe. You know, and you draft him with upside that he could do that. Sure. But Lamb, if we're talking, especially if we're talking Dynasty, Lamb over A-Rob all day long. And I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. It happens. It happens, bro. Kyle says, I want to take Lamb round 4. Not sure who to take in round 3. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of players you could take in round 3, bro. You're talking about Mahomes. If you get to a point where you don't like you're saying right now, I don't know who to take. Like, if you don't know who to take, don't shy away from going Mahomes in the third round just because you can get other quarterbacks later. Like, Mahomes has the potential with an extra game to drop 50 or 55 passing touchdowns. I mean, I don't think he'll do it every year. I'm not suggesting you ever count on that. But if you're sitting there and you see Mahomes at 3.4 and you're like, I don't want to draft a guy I don't believe in. I don't want to draft a Swift. I don't want to draft any of these guys. And let's say Gibson doesn't fall, because Gibby might fall. Gibby might fall because people are scared about the toe. They should be a little worried about him. That's why I like the fact that Gibson's falling. It helps protect and bake in a little risk. There is a risk involved. Toe injuries are bad. And the fact that his toe's still bothering him this late in the healing process is worrisome. It should already be healed. But Gibson makes a fine third-round pick. Clyde Edwards-Helaire makes a fine late third-round pick. You know, I like him. Clyde wins you a league in the fourth round. And at the very, very least, he earns his value back in the fourth round, assuming, you know, you can't predict anybody might get hit by a season-ending injury in week 1 or the preseason, whatever. But assuming Clyde stays healthy, he will 100%, nothing's 100, 99.99% earn your value back at fourth round value. You could freaking hit a home run and win a league, but Clyde still win a league potential in round 3. I love Clydey boy. In round 3. I love him more in round 4, but I love him in 3. And in Lamb, I take Lamb at the end of round 3 if I have to. Order, because people like you are driving his value up. You know, Lamb, I will pay. Like, let me preface this for you guys. I will pay what I got to pay for Lamb, but I don't want to have to overpay if I don't have to overpay. And that's the advice I give all of you. Christian McCaffrey, in a nutshell, on Miles Sanders. Draft him if you want. I'm not going near him. Everybody that thinks that he has to evolve because he's talented, you got another thing coming for you. Talent doesn't always win out. Talent a lot of the times can win out. Okay, but talent is not everything. You know what's everything? Situation and talent merging together like a perfect storm. And if you don't have both, you've got to have an overwhelming side of one and some luck. And I don't think Miles Sanders, if I had to tell you what luck looked like, what does luck look like, Smitty? What does a pot of luck look like? It's not a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. I can tell you that right now. And any Eagles fan in here will tell you too. No, a pot of luck is not in Philly. It just isn't. Okay, maybe it will be in 2, 3, 4 years from now. But Sirianni, I'm not feeling, knows what he's doing any more than Doug Peterson did. And they're not backing Hurts the way that they need to. I think he will win out. I think that's a situation where talent will win out there. And I think Devontae Smith was a great pick. They didn't botch that. So I'm hopeful that Philly the talent there can help drive this team forward. But Philly does not feel like the kind of team you're banking on, knowing what they have in Miles Sanders. I'll tell you that right now. Christian McCaffrey. Let's talk about Christian McCaffrey. Where's this clip right here? There we go. Here we go. Panthers OC told reporters on Thursday that his mindset is unchanged on Christian McCaffrey's role in the offense despite an injury-plagued 2020. Music to fantasy managers' ears. McCaffrey saw an absurd 97% snap rate in week 1 in 2020. His only fully healthy game. Bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, rev your engines. If you're a McCaffrey owner, he's going to get just completely peppered with receptions, handed massive amounts of carries. We do have a little bit to worry about when it comes to McCaffrey staying healthy. And It's inevitable when you get fantasy football running back one production. Like, if you are a top, fantasy quarterback, like Christian McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara, Barkley. Here's the top 4 running backs pretty much in fantasy football right now. Dynasty, redraft, whatever the case may be, right? So when you're talking about these guys, McCaffrey, he's getting so much volume. In order to be this high in fantasy football, you have to get tons and tons and tons of volume in order to be this guy. Even Henry. Your volume, you could make these guys interchangeable. Your volume is so massive. Anymore, you have a maximum of 4 to 5 years, I think, before you fall off the face of the planet Earth. And there are rare exceptions where maybe this year you don't quite fall off and you fall off midway through this year and you kind of do it this year. We're hoping that's the case with McCaffrey. But McCaffrey's at this stage right here where he's getting the volume clearly that breaks you. And at some point, a lot of us don't want to admit it. These are the same Allen Robinson owners I was just talking to. These are the same Julio Jones owners. What's going on, Julio owners? That can't recognize the pattern recognition here of what's going on with elite running backs after 4 and 5 years when you get volume that earns you. You can't earn a top 1 to 4, 1 to 5 fantasy football ranking year in and year out without getting completely overworked. Decline is coming for Christian McCaffrey. Decline is coming. Caution. Decline is coming. In Dynasty, you got to get a little worried. Decline is coming for Cook. It is. It's less concerning with Kamara because of the divided workload, which has allowed Christian McCaffrey to go as long as he has, which is why McCaffrey may be able to find his way into year 6 as an elite producing player. These guys have a special, let's put a special caveat where they could maybe go an extra 1 to 2 years. But you got to be concerned about Barkley long term. You've got to be triple concerned about Henry, who has had 300 plus 400 carry seasons back to back, plus a 2,000 yard season last year. This guy, let's give him 4 exclamation points of concern here. This guy worries the hell out of me. So what does this mean? What do you do when you have a number 1, number 2, number 3 overall pick in a dynasty draft? To be honest with you, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey if I've got the 1.1, but that doesn't mean I feel like he's got 3 years left. I feel like he's got 1 elite year left, and can I somehow squeeze out another 1 year? I'm hopeful, but it certainly doesn't feel like a lock of any kind. So let me tell you what kind of feels more secure. If you're holding the number 1 pick in a dynasty and you want to completely avoid that concern, this league feels very long lasting to you. That's another thing, is if you're in a dynasty league and the league's only as good as how long it will last. If you're in a league with a bunch of new people, a lot of people you don't know, I could try and find statistics on it, but I can pretty much guarantee you that if you're in a new league with a bunch of people you don't know, the likelihood of that league going more than 3 or 4 years before it just completely falls apart. Too many people leave, you can't fill the spots anymore, and everybody says, let's just start over, or the league's going away. The odds of that happening with people you don't know are astronomically higher than if you have an existing league with buddies you can count on, will be around. You've done other leagues with them that have survived long amount of time. Like you need to think about that when you're doing dynasty stuff. So in a dynasty league where the longevity of the league is in question, McCaffrey's the number one overall pick by a mile. You don't consider trading down. You don't consider doing anything of the sort. If you're in same thing, with any of these picks right here. But if you're in a league where it's brand new, you don't know maybe one or two people in the league, that's when you got to. I don't know if I said that backwards. If the league is going to collapse, this is your number one pick. If it's not going to collapse, my advice is to go with an alternative plan, which is to trade down. And the guys, if you want to go running back, the guys you want to accumulate now in Dynasty. So these are the Dynasty smart running back plays. Smart running back plays. Harris. He's just getting going. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Just getting going. He's young. He's in an amazing offense. It's going to be potent for a long time. It's a great player to grab. I think that also, let me pull up my rankings here and go through all of the guys that I would recommend going after in Dynasty. Man. Gibson's interesting, but he worries me because he's never shouldered the load for a long period of time. Like, these would probably be my favorite running backs if I had to narrow it down to two for the long term to try and get the most out of a new dynasty build. Taylor. Taylor's just getting going. So I'll put Taylor in there too. I know some of you are going to say Akers, but he's injury prone to me. I don't want to dive into Akers ownership because I don't trust the Rams and how they use their running backs. I think Trey Sermon's got his risks because he may not even start. So like these feel like the three safest for the value for what you're getting running backs in fantasy football for the long term, and they don't cost you what these guys cost you. So in a trade down, it makes sense. What I'm doing in Dynasty, if I think it could last a long time, is I'm building an all-around wide receivers. I want 3 wide receivers that look like A.J. Brown, Ridley, DK, Diggs. I don't care if Diggs is a little older than the rest of them here. Jefferson, of course. Lamb, of course. Judy, of course. McLaurin. That's what I'm after. And then, of course, Jamar Chase and Smith. These are your players here. No Dobbins, Tony, not in terms of the safety. Welcome, Tony. Not in terms of the safety. Like, we're talking here, like, if I'm building and I'm trying to get away from risk, like, Dobbins is probably one of the riskiest, high upside risky. He's got some of the highest upside for the risky backs, but Dobbins is like the definition of what I'm worried about. Just because he's looking at Gus Edwards now getting a 2-year, $10 million extension. The fact that they do run the football a lot, but everything's contingent on Lamar staying healthy and playing well. But I do like Dobbins at the right price, Tony, and he's dropping and dropping. The Gus Edwards signing might make Dobbins lower risk and get him into a comfortable place for me, Tony. But Dobbins has top 5 to 10 running back appeal. But in Dynasty, I'm building around these guys. I'm building around 3. If you can start 4 of them, I'll build around 4 of them. I don't care. I'll build my running backs up in a different way if I have to. If I'm feeling like this team that I'm drafting in a Dynasty startup is going to last for 10 years, I want myself a quarterback like Allen or Herbert, or of course Mahomes. Not even Kyler, because Kyler runs a lot, worries me. And I know Allen runs a lot too, but he's also becoming a really, really damn good passer. So I want myself a top, 3 to 4 quarterback. I want myself to have 3 or 4 of these wide receivers. I love Chase and Smith together with Justin Jefferson. Then I get myself like a Sermon. I try and get myself another running back. You can build in ways that make sense, but in Dynasty startups, it's all about wide receiver to me. Yes, Kyle Pitts too. You could throw Kyle Pitts in here. Tony, any update on Deshaun Watson? All right, let's get to the rest of the news. We've got Michael Gallup. Let me talk about this real quick. Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill. I don't like the idea of that, sports dude, because it's okay to have like Mahomes and Kelsey, Mahomes and Hill, Mahomes and Clyde. But I tried to do an all Kansas City Chief team last year to see if it could work. And the problem is when you're down, you're down. And you have more down weeks than you'd expect. And it didn't work. The team did not win. Granted, I had everybody, but I wanted to see what would happen on a high-powered offense. Now, maybe a different year it would work. I don't know. But I don't like the idea of you stacking too many of them together. Like 2 of them, sure. But like, Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill together. I mean, it depends on your supporting cast. If you still got a J.K. Dobbins like Tony's talking about, or you still have a couple big guns, then yeah, of course it can work. You ended up doing an amazing, build or whatever. But if you literally have those 3, you probably don't have a whole lot of other talent. So it depends. I think you said you had Chubb in there, so that's good. If you got you said along with depth like Chubb. Yeah, I mean, you could win with Chubb and that, sure. But you could also lose 4 or 5 games, if Mahomes has a bad game, or if Mahomes went down, something like that. Tony says, I haven't heard anything lately on Deshaun Watson. Thank you, Tony. Okay, Michael Gallup has lined up across the team's formation during all offseason practices. I bring up Gallup for a couple of reasons. One, there's not enough room for Gallup to be consistent in an offense that has CeeDee Lamb about to climb to the peak of all fantasy football producers in 2021. You have Amari Cooper. What's going on, LaShawn? You got Amari Cooper, who is going to continue to do great things. You got Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard. You can use both of them. Jarwin, whatever. They've got a ton of talent. There's no room for a consistent wide receiver 3 where you're getting what you're getting out of him week in and week out. He'll have a big game, then he won't do anything. He'll have a big game. You'll start him the wrong weeks. But why I bring this up is that if Amari got hurt, if someone goes down, I'm not going to even mention my favorite player on that team getting hurt. I would all around. I'm still not doing it. But let's say Amari went down or some other player went down. Gallup would be fed. And people don't realize how good Gallup is. And nor should they, because he's not used enough. But Gallup, before the team drafted CeeDee Lamb in the 2020 NFL draft, I had a post ready to go, queued up, that Gallup was going to outscore Amari Cooper. And then the Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb, and boom. I deleted that draft so quick. I love Gallup. Talented guy. If opportunity knocks, he will deliver. I'm just saying, keep that in mind in a dynasty league or a deep league where you literally are worried about your wide receiver staying healthy all year. Like, it might line up to where he comes in and is used heavily. I like him a lot. Next piece of news. There's not a whole lot of other stuff I was going to bring up today. Julio Jones will attend Titans minicamp, as he should. Look, if Julio starts, the reason I'm bringing this up is if Julio starts, if they're reporting on him, oh, he's going to participate here. Oh, Julio Jones might participate here. They got to keep him healthy. He might do this. He might do that. Moving teams is tough on a wide receiver. And I know he's Julio and everybody's got the nostalgia here and like, he's going to be the best. He's the best. Julio's the best ever. How can you not like Julio? Julio Jones is going to have a tough time staying healthy. They may hold him out of a lot of stuff, which will only hamper his progression and learning things very quickly and being able to be great right out of the gate. Just monitor Julio. We got to figure out if he can even enter 2021 healthy. Wouldn't shock me if he got banged up before week 1, with the hamstring issues, the foot, whatever. Keep an eye on Julio. Could Julio have another elite year left? I think it depends how you define elite. I think could he have a 900 to 1,000 yards, maybe 1050. Let's call it 1050 for you people that get so angry when I say he might not have 1,000 yards. You're like, dude, Julio Jones, not 1,000 yards? Are you out of your mind? 1050. Is that okay? Give him 1050 and 5 to 7 TDs. He could do that. In a run-first offensive attack that already has an alpha 1 wide receiver. Alpha 1 wide receiver in A.J. Brown. He's not going anywhere. Okay? I don't care how much you liked Julio Jones. I don't care how much he's your favorite player of all time and you own him in 87 leagues and you refuse to admit that this guy could fall off at 32 years old. With hamstring issues, foot issues and concerns, changing teams on a run-heavy offense, a run-first attack. I know you're so excited out there, John or Philip, but Julio Jones is looking at a 1,000-yard season, maybe 900 to 1050, and 5 to 7 TDs. That's what I'm thinking. Could he surprise me? I suppose. Anything's possible, but I'm not banking on it. No siree. We already talked about Watson, but there's more. Tony, if you have anything you want to include on this, chime in. I love when these players act like they can decide where they're going now. It just so happens that Julio did go to Tennessee after A.J. Brown was rallying for Julio to go to Tennessee. But Julio also, or A.J. Brown also may have had insider information, because remember when I talked to him, I asked him on a live right before all that went down, and I went live with AJ. And I said, A.J. Brown, do you know if Julio Jones, do you have any insider information? Is Julio Jones coming to Tennessee? And he was like, that's above my pay grade. But he hesitated, and everybody in the chat noticed, and they're like, he hesitated. Like, just because he rallied for him doesn't mean that that's why it happened. I love that players think that they know they can dictate where they go. Like, number one, Houston has refused to trade Watson this entire process, even before all the drama unfolded. They're like, we're not trading you. You can sit out. We don't care. We will literally light the house on fire and burn it to the ground before we will make you happy and send you elsewhere, is basically, I'm paraphrasing, what Houston's stance was to Watson prior to all the drama unfolding with Deshaun Watson right now, the legal issues. Before it all unfolded, that was the stance that Houston had. And even when things started to go south and there was all these rumors that were surfacing at first, 2 cases, 10, 5, whatever, Houston didn't say, well, wait a minute. Anybody want Deshaun Watson before his value goes down and down and down? I will potentially consider trading him. No. Houston said, no, we're not trading him. I don't care what this news shows. We're not trading Deshaun Watson. They're literally ready to burn the house to the ground before they're going to make this man happy. And this report here, Talib said Broncos DB Kareem Jackson and former teammate Deshaun Watson told him that Watson wants to go to Denver. He wants to be in Denver. He can want it all he wants. It doesn't make it so. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. Rob says 55 people watching and only 20 likes. He wants to know what's up with that. I also want to know why we have 55 to 70 people in the room and only 20 of you are showing love to the Fantasy Football Show. Punch the thumbs up. Help the channel. It's all I ask of you every single show. Okay? Do Rob a solid. Wipe your feet. Wipe your feet. Answer my question for the like, says Webb. First of all, Webb, I don't take threats. I'll answer your question anyway. I would assume, Webb, because you love the show, you would like anyway. You know what I'm saying? But Webb, this is how I roll. I'm not scared. I just watched a BS video about selling Dobbins. Thoughts on how stupid that is, Smitty? Question mark. I don't know what the video said, bro, but Dobbins, it depends what you can get. Dobbins is a high risk, high reward player. It's neither stupid, Webb, to love Dobbins. It's neither stupid to doubt Dobbins. The only thing stupid is to, I think, not consider that he has both ultra high risk and ultra high reward. You will either get a guy that does what Kenyon Drake did to many of us, including myself in 2021, or what he did in 2020. That will either happen to you if you're a Drake owner in 2021, a Drake owner, a Dobbins owner. Let me start over. What Drake did to a lot of us in 2020, Dobbins can do to you in 2021. Get your hopes up, have a lot of talent, and get completely misused. There's huge risk for that with Dobbins. But what Dobbins has is a particular set of skills. Skills he's acquired over his career. Skills that make him a nightmare for defenses like you. And J.K. Dobbins, if he gets the volume in both the PPR game and the running game, and they run a lot, but there's vulturing, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on there that could affect his value even in a run-heavy attack. Gus Edwards, 2-year, $10 million extension, bro. They like Gus Edwards. Whether you like him or not, they like Gus Edwards. There's a lot of reason to be worried about JK, and there's an equal amount of reason to be amped up and absolutely pumped up for third round value. So, Webb, is it dumb to trade away JK? No, but it depends entirely what you're getting. So throw an example at me, Webb. We'll play a name game, and I'll let you know. Sports 2 says, we went from 20 likes to closing in on 40 in a couple minutes. Attaboy. Hit the thumbs up on the way in the door. I feel like Najee, until proven to be given to be lead back role, will initially start off in a timeshare, maybe 50 to 60% of snaps. I don't think so, Rob. Maybe, but I think they're going to feed him a lot. I think he's going to do well. But back to what I was saying about Watson before I got sidetracked. I derailed myself like I always do. Austin B. The Austin Twins. Where's my Austin chat? I need to do an Austin rap. Austin B dropping the super chat in my live. Austin B from the Beehive. Austin B is the best. Even though I love you all the same Whatever. The rhyme ended. You're all the best. Chat, I traded Odell and his 7th round valued pick for Travis Kelce in my keeper league. I traded Odell and a 7th round valued pick for Travis Kelce. Bro, Austin, that's about as fire as you coming in with a super chat hot here in June 10. That's a great trade, bro. Number one, Waller's older than Kittle. Waller and Kittle are no spring chickens, and everybody in the whole world seems to think Kelce is like should be ranked lower in Dynasty than other tight ends. Like, I've Kyle Pitts maybe one quietly. Don't tell anybody. But I've got Kelce number 2. I don't care if he's got 2 years left, and I know for a fact Kelce's going to get abducted by aliens entering his 3rd year from today. So you only give me 2 years. I'm still drafting him as the 2nd drafted Dynasty tight end over the number 1. Quietly, Pitts. Don't tell anyone. But I love this, man. Going after Kelce in Dynasty is probably smart. Pretty smart. Some people won't trade him. Know that. But if you can get away with, taking him away because someone's worried about him getting older, I'll take 2 years in a Dynasty. Like I told you, a lot of Dynasty leagues end in 3 or 4 years. And people think they're not good. You want to say they're going to, like you ask somebody, honestly tell me, what are the odds this league will survive? Everyone always says, it's a good league because you want it to survive. You're not being honest with yourself. You're like, hey, it's a great league. Steve from accounting is in it. Bob from accounting is also in it. Steve's brother. They're twins. They both date Maggie on floor 10. Bob brings his chicken salad to work every day. He's consistent. I think Bob's going to stay in it. I really do think it's going to be a really good league. So many leagues end after 3 or 4 years, especially when they're created in a community, like a forum or in a chat, whatever. Like you create, they fall apart. Somebody makes a bad trade. Everybody gets mad. I'm not playing in this league where you can trade blah, blah, blah for blah, blah, blah. This has been going 10 years. Attaboy, Austin B. All right, where were we at? What's up, Uzi? No, I don't like Mixon. Dobbins for Mixon and a pick. I take Dobbins. That's with all the risk. I still like Dobbins. Like, Tony, are you still in here? I still like Dobbins, but he's not safe. I like rolling the dice sometimes, bro. I like rolling die. You know what I'm saying? Okay. What are we doing? So, oh yeah, Talib. So, Kareem Jackson, who I might add is, somebody keeps saying, hey, Smitty, what defensive backs say that Jerry Jeudy's the number 1 route runner in the league? Kareem Jackson has said no one runs routes like Jerry Jeudy. I know he's on the same team, but he's a pretty good judge of, I think, who's a good route runner in the NFL. There are a lot of people that think Jerry Jeudy is top 1 to 5 in route running in the NFL already. But back to Kareem Jackson. These guys want players to come to their team. Watson can desire to go wherever he wants. It doesn't matter. It doesn't determine anything. The only thing that it can do is that if all things are equal, there's contract negotiations potentially involved where the team could say, hey, we can't make this deal unless you renegotiate, blah, blah, blah. That could guide a person to get drafted where they want. Like, that kind of stuff can do it. But he has no say. No say. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks about where Watson should go. If Houston doesn't want to trade him, number 1, doesn't matter. Number 2, they could decide to trade him wherever they want. They don't have to do anything. They're obviously not going to do what Watson wants. Does anybody think that because he wants to go somewhere, that the Texans, out of all teams, if they were to decide to trade him, because he wants out more than anything, and let's say he avoids legal disaster and gets suspended just 8 games for what he's done, because the NFL will suspend him at some point for something, because they will not like what he's admitted to already. He will get suspended for 8 games minimum. And let's say a team wants to have him. Do you think the Texans are really going to go out of their way to please please Deshaun Watson with a landing spot? No. Ridley. Now, this is interesting because Calvin Ridley, who I've had in my top 1 to 5 for a very long period of time, getting ripped on left and right, did an Instagram post about 4 months ago and said, Calvin Ridley, top 12 wide receiver 2021, ? Top 12, are you crazy? He climbed, as soon as Julio was traded, this man climbed to like 10, 11, 12 overall. And he's warranted there. He proved he's the number 1 wide receiver for a string of games, not 1 or 2 games, a string of games in 2020. He was electric, elite, the man, the myth, the legend. And I'm not worried about him playing without Julio because, yeah, it would have worried me. Defensive attention would be different, double teams. But the team drafted Kyle Pitts, which will help fill a lot of the vacancies and voids in the offense and absorb a lot of the targets, command some defensive attention. And Mike Davis is also a very, very good receiving back. I have no worries about Ridley being able to get open and avoid consistent double teams. And I love Ridley in 2021. So, he didn't really move but maybe 1 spot for me above A.J. Brown, because I still have A.J. Brown in Dynasty, but in redraft, for example, Ridley and A.J. Brown were like neck and neck. And so getting rid of Julio, but still having Pitts and Mike Davis made Ridley go right above him. But I didn't move Ridley up because I already had Ridley like to the max of rankings I could have him at, like the max level of ranking that I could have him at. I love Ridley. Now, Ridley had foot surgery. It appears to be minor, and it's freaking people out. Like, there should be some concern, but the great news, the fantastic news, the amazing news is this could wash some of the hike in value that the trading of Julio just created. So Ridley should be 12, 13 overall, but he wasn't. Julio Jones made sure of that. So he's ranking like 15 to 20. Julio Jones gets traded. Ridley climbs up to 11, 12, 13. Foot injury news comes out. He drops back down to 15, 17, 18. I don't know if it will stick. As soon as we see Ridley's healthy, people aren't worried about the injury. Memories get a little bit, things like this kind of fade from the mind, and people don't worry about it after about a month or so. So maybe even if news doesn't really break that he's back and everything looks great, people might forget and he'll climb rankings. And, when Barkley went down last year, early on in 2021 or 2020, there was talk about Barkley never returning to anybody's top 5 running backs. People were like, I won't take him in the first round next year. Torn ACL, no way. And what did I tell you? I told you the week after he tore his ACL. Time heals. Everybody will come back around once you see him running, once you hear he's doing well, once you put the injury out of your mind for enough number of months in a row, he will climb back into your top 10. He will inch his way back to the middle of the first round, and you will have him in your top 5 or 6 running backs for 2021. That's how that works. Your mind is an amazing thing, but it can also have you thinking weird things, and you got to overcome those things. But Ridley, for now, might have got a little bit of a fall in ADP again due to the foot injury. I'm not too concerned. It sounds like a minor thing. Don't worry too much about that. And I believe that's all I have for the news. So now we're going to get to a few mailbag questions. And these particular ones are interesting ones. So mailbag question number 1. How can I trade away a guy like Swift? This comes from, I forget who sent this one in. Sorry, bro. Why not? Why not CK what? What about CK what? Spell it out, bro. Smitty, Jacobs, Hunt, or Sermon in a full PPR Dynasty running back 2. Give me Hunt for the now. Even in Dynasty, if you're thinking now, give me Sermon long term. How can I trade away a guy like Swift? Let's take this to the board. Is there a universe where Pitts goes from tight end to wide receiver? Yes, there's a world where that could exist, but I don't think that'll happen. But it's certainly, you can't rule it out. Swift. If you want to trade away a guy like Swift, you first got to start off with a couple things. Number one, you go to the teams. Every team's going to give you a different opportunity to trade away Swift. It's all team-based. It's specific to whatever team you're going after, right? So, number one, you look at a team and you see a player like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So you got to put CEH in the spot. Then you got to ask yourself, is Clyde ranked higher or lower than Swift? Because that determines whether you got to draw a line here or draw a line here, meaning I'm giving up more or I'm getting more. Swift is probably ranked pretty close to Clyde. You could potentially do an even swap. If he likes Clyde more, then you give up more. So you trade Swift and a second rounder. You trade Swift and a Laviska Shenault. You trade Swift and a Chark. I'm just staying with a couple names that are coming to mind. You trade Swift and, I don't know, backup tight end. You trade Swift and whatever you need to do to get out of this to get into a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, Clyde's got his risks. Swift has his risks. Like, there's risk involved on both sides. I just determine this risk as less, of an issue because, number one, his team is potent. Number two, he has no competition. He is the number one on his team. Number three, he did what he did last year without PPR production, and the PPR production is coming. So the only risk you have here is maybe he gets phased out of games, but if the PPR work comes, he can't get phased out of games. The only reason he got phased out of games last year and games scripted out is because he didn't have the PPR work. Well, this year, he'll probably be prepared because of not having this pandemic type offseason that he had last year. He's learning the offense. Clyde feels pretty darn safe at 3 to 4 round value. If you're getting Clyde at 3 to 4 round value, you're getting a steal. Swift has a bad offense. He is not the number one. He's in a running back by committee. And if you say no to that right now in the comments, you're taking a lap. Swift is a running back by committee back right now. His own coaching staff, his own offensive coordinator just confirmed it. In fact, he called Swift his B back. So if you need more examples of how to let go of your Swift fascination, I don't know what to tell you. He's your B back. Jamal Williams is considered his A back. You can't even read that. It's below. Sorry. Jay Will is his A back. That is what the OC has come out and just said. This is his A back. Now, I know what you're going to say if you're a Swift Dynasty owner, but Smitty, that's not true. Well, you know what? Take it up. Take it up with Lynn. Take it up with the coaching staff. That's what I have to say to you. Like, you could believe in Swift. I'm not going to be mad at you. But I trade Swift for Clyde all day long. Every single day I trade Swift for Clyde. Over and over in my dreams, I toss and turn, dreaming about this scenario, swapping Swift for Clyde. Dreaming about it. Do I give Judy? Oh God, I don't like this. Avoid giving Judy, bro. Who said that? Mighty Buffoon? I mean, it's a good question. You're trying to like test where my limit is on keeping Swift. I don't want to do this. I'll do something else over this. I'll figure it out. There's no way I'm giving Swift or Judy up. But I'm trading Swift. Get out of Swift. Now, another way you can potentially make this work. I gotta get another marker. Okay, so Swift so you go to another team. You go to a team that has, let's say you go to a team that has Judy. Let's use Judy. You ask yourself, which one's more valued, Judy or Swift? Fair market value, not in your mind, not in Smitty's mind. You got to make trades that are smart. The bottom line is the team that has Judy is probably way willing to come get Swift for Judy. So the value of Judy is much lower than Swift. Therefore, you have to ask for more. So plus what? What else can they give you? Can you swap your second rounder for their first rounder in the future? Can you get like a 2023 first rounder? Can you get all kinds of other things? Can you upgrade your quarterback quietly? Can you upgrade your tight end quietly? Do you need a tight end? Can you go after a tight end? Are there other options of maybe you could give up a Keenan Allen and ask for a Lamb? Maybe you could do something like that. Figure out a way to get rid of Swift and another player to upgrade this player. Because bottom line is, Swift is worth more than Judy. You have to get more. So you may have to throw in two very close and similar players that you quietly love more so that you can get two players that you like more than these two players. It is tough getting rid of a player like Swift right now because there's a lot of negative buzz going on. I just put marker all over my arm too. Okay. Good question though. I forget who it was. Sorry, I didn't write down who asked these questions. Smitty, show me. I got another question like this, but it was very worded different. Show me. You'd be surprised how many people send a message like that on the weekly. Smitty, show me. Show me kind of team. I copied and pasted this, so he didn't write it out clearly. Smitty, show me kind of team from the 1.1. I think you mean show me your favorite team from the 1.1. That's how I took it when I grabbed the comment. From the 1.1.6. Okay, so drafting from, here's the first round, here's the second round, here's the third round, here's the fourth round. We'll just go 5 rounds, bro. Show me your favorite. Oh, you can't even see it. Three, 4, 5. There. Smitty, is there a reason you're fading Gesicki? Honestly, man, Kenny, I mean, it's a good question because some people like him, but it's not that I'm fading Gesicki. I just was never high on him, and so I'm remaining not high on him. I don't know. I'm not a big Tua fan. I don't hate Gesicki. I've never had him super high. So my favorite team from the 1.1 would be Christian McCaffrey. And then at this 2-3 turn, probably my favorite 2 picks, or my favorite 2 approaches would either be to go like a DK and Jefferson. And then in the 4th round and 5th round, you could get a guy like imagine if Clyde fell. He probably won't. He's probably going into the 3rd, but I'm just saying imagine if I just wanted to write that in there. That would be one of the best teams you could draft. Gibson's falling, but probably not that far. Gibson's falling from round 2 into round 3, maybe top of 4, but you're not going to get him in the late 4. Running backs that you could fall into in the 4th round. That's a tough one. JK's going in 3-ish. You're not going to get him. You could get Monty. So, like, if I'm drafting, this could be the problem, your running back here, but I'm not worried or scared of that. Like, I'll fill this with a bunch of different guys. I'm okay with Monty. I'll have Sermon later. I'll have a bunch of different guys that can fill that void. But more importantly, I love the DK Jefferson builds from the 1.1. The question was 1.1 and 1.6. If I was to go running back, let's say I was to go, like, I think my second favorite, I don't know that this will happen very often come August because he'll climb, but right now Harris is sometimes falling there. We might have to use Harris in the 1.6 example more so, but like if you could get Jefferson and Harris, that would be ideal. But the one you can land pretty much every single time is Christian McCaffrey, Jefferson, and like a DK, or Ridley used to fall there, but now Ridley doesn't. Maybe AJ Brown falls here. You could also put a plethora of wide receivers in this range, like Hopkins. Sometimes he falls, sometimes he goes in the top 14. DK, I think MT sometimes falls here. So if you were to go running back here, but I love this McCaffrey and 2 wide receivers. If I had to say my favorite approach. Now, if we're talking 1.6, my favorite 1.6 draft approach, I would probably say that 1.6 is tough because I guess JT, if JT falls, so JT in the middle of round 1, right here, Najee Harris, for those of you that want to see a running back build that I do. I'm not always wide receiver driven, like it depends on the draft slot. So JT and Harris would make a fine 1-2 punch there. You can still oftentimes get Jefferson, and then you can oftentimes get Lamb in round 4. But imagine that team, bro. And then Herbie in 5. Like, look at this team. You got Herbs, JT, Harris, Jefferson, and Lamb. Holy crap. I love that. That's probably my favorite 1.6 team. If you can pull that off, and if you can't get Harris, I suppose you could do this. This would be an alternative if Harris doesn't fall. Because Harris could go as early as like the 11, 12 come August, even a redraft. But if we did Clyde Edwards-Helaire here, and you reach on Jefferson, or you take DK or someone like that. So JT, Clyde. So JT and Clyde, Lamb, and Jefferson still. And then Herbert. Like, those are some dope ass teams from the 1.6, man. Absolutely love that. Good question. And the final mailbag question, and then we go to fantasy football court. Start getting your fantasy questions ready, because I'm going to be blasting through. This is, I like this one when I saw it. Why do you draft QBs early? It's not smart, yo. You know what's not smart, yo? Assuming that I draft quarterbacks early. Who said I draft quarterbacks early? Is Herbert in round 5 early, yo? Is Aaron Rodgers in round 5 or 6 early, yo? And I got a question for you. What about all my Russell Wilson content? This year's version of last year's A-Rod, when all of you were doubting A-Rod over and over again. He's garbage. He's gonna be horrible. Did you see the decline? He declined. He didn't decline. If you had yourself focused on the details, Adams was hurt and hampered all year, And so they had to shift everything because they had no wide receivers into a run-heavy attack that they were going to revert back to. And in 2020, everybody passed on A-Rod. And the question I got all the time was, Smitty, who's the breakout quarterback? Who's the breakout quarterback? And I said, you're not going to understand this answer, but it's Aaron Rodgers. And people are like, what? Like, number one, he's washed up. Smitty's 36 years old. Number two, how could he be your breakout? He's already broken out. Everything revolves around ADP. A-Rod was going in 8, 9, 10 last year. 8th round, 9th round, 10th round. Guess where Russell Wilson's going in 2021 early drafts? 8, 9, 10. Russell Wilson equals A-Rod 2020. Russell Wilson is one of the biggest steals in fantasy football in like the 8 to 10 round range. Russell Wilson can be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in fantasy football, and you can get him in rounds 8 through 10. So, am I an early QB drafter? No. What I do, Billy Boy 12, whatever your name was, I didn't write your name down either. I'm an advocate. I advocate for early quarterback drafting when it makes sense. I defend my early quarterback drafters, and by early, I don't mean round 1 in a 1 QB league. If we're talking Superflex, everyone is an early QB drafter. Mahomes goes 1 overall, Josh Allen goes number 2 overall. We're talking about Superflex. Not a game, Superflex. Okay, but when we're talking 1 QB league, early QB is Mahomes at 2.10 to 3.05. And if that makes me an early QB drafter, because I'll do that when it makes sense, then I guess I'm an early QB drafter. But more so, I'm an advocate of early quarterback drafting. Because when you're drafting and you're sitting here at 3.1 and you don't like who's there. The reason I don't draft Mahomes over and over and over in 2021 mock drafts is because I love who's there at 3.1, 2.12, 2.10 almost every single time I'm on the clock. Why? Because Jefferson or DK or Ridley or AJ Brown, the wide receivers I keep telling you to draft are almost always available. So it does make it less likely to see me drafting Mahomes in 2021 because every year is a case-by-case situation to situation basis type thing. And if you're on the clock, let's say at, 3.4 right here in the third round. And let me switch over. So you're at 3.4 in the third round. And Jefferson's gone. He's gone. AJ Brown is gone. DK's gone. Obviously, every other wide receiver is gone. And we're talking about drafting Swift. Or we're talking about drafting Sanders. I can't even write today. And you're talking about drafting A-Rob. I know you guys love A-Rob. No offense. You're talking about drafting players like that. When all things start breaking down and I don't feel like I have a top 5 to 10 running back or a top 5 to 10 wide receiver lock on my hands, Mahomes gets drafted by me every single time. So am I early QB drafter because I love Mahomes at 3.4, 3.5 if all of my top wide receivers are off the board? I guess so. I guess I'm a freaking early quarterback drafter. And I don't care. I like it. If that's early, I'm great. And let's go over this. Let's take Mahomes out of the equation. Let's say I get Jefferson here 10 times out of 10. Okay? Am I an early QB drafter because I like, let's just say in this range right here, Josh Allen? Or if I've got to trade up right here into this pick, let's say I take Jefferson just to get him off the board, and I trade up, I'm not even showing the screen again, and I trade up into the bottom of the third round, and I get Allen. Am I a crazy drafter because I like trading up to Allen? Am I an early quarterback drafter because I like him at 3.10 or 3.08? I guess I'm an early QB drafter. I'd trade my 5th rounder and 6th rounder up to get Josh Allen at 3.08. Because I don't care so much about this pick. Like, that's like taking this pick and moving it there and giving up this pick. But what I do also love, and this might make me an early QB drafter, is that in round 5, I love me some Herbie. Give me Herbs all day in round 5. Herbert, if that makes me an early QB drafter, then I'm an early QB drafter because I love Herbert in round 5. You know what I also love is getting the breakouts downstream. Okay? Who told you here to draft Mahomes his breakout year? Who told you that Josh Allen lived here? I did. So I love developing and cultivating quarterbacks late, but that doesn't mean I don't pass on quarterbacks early as well, because then I trade one of them when I do develop a Mahomes, or I develop the next Josh Allen, or I land a Russell Wilson in round 8 when everyone's sleeping at the wheel. Good questions, though. Now it's time for a fantasy football court with your man Smitty. Time to get your questions in. Post them below. And it is time for court. Court is in session. Judge Smitty is presiding. Herbert over Devontae Smith in the 5th round. In a dynasty startup, I assume. I love both of them. I feel like Devontae Smith is great value there. I'm going to say it depends on your build. I'm going to say I don't hate either one of those. I'm going to say that in 2 different parallel fantasy football universes, I might be okay with either option, bro. So I'm going to go ahead, put your question on screen. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and give you a no contest ruling. Case dismissed. Hung jury. Complete waste of the court's time, Kenny, because you bring up 2 massively important people I love in all formats, Kenny. Case dismissed. Smitty, what value would you want for guys like Julio and Henry in Dynasty? Well, let me tell you something. Henry's going in around 3.1, 3.2, 2.10 if you're lucky in a Dynasty startup. So no one's trading this man for what you're paying in redraft, which means people are worried about him. You know, we're at the end of the road. Do we have one more year left? Do we not? As far as Henry, you might be able to trade both for one player. You might be able to trade both for like a Najee Harris. You might be able to trade Henry for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Still, you may have to give up even a little more, like a late 2nd round pick or something in a rookie draft. But I would go after guys like Clyde, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. You get more than CeeDee Lamb for Henry because Lamb's going 3rd, 4th round. Henry's going top of the 3rd. But I think you got to start targeting some youthful players like that. And Jamar Chase, I like a lot. Devontae Smith, maybe you can get 2 players, one of those guys being included for Henry. As for Julio, I think you could try and trade him with something to kind of upgrade at a position. So in the case of, like, let's say, a Sermon. Like I would be trying to use Julio Jones to get myself a quietly sleeping giant type player that like Sermon could jump into your lineup and be a top 5 to 10 running back for per start if he gets in there. Like I go after Sermon, I go after Michael Carter, I go after guys like that with Julio Jones. Maybe even a Rondell Moore if you can get Rondell Moore and your draft has already happened. If not, I'm trying to trade Julio for a pick that will land me Devontae Smith. ETN or Kareem Hunt? I'm going to assume this is a Dynasty and redraft question. Hunt, I'm going to assume, Hunt, that you're leaning Hunt because you and Hunt share the same last name. In redraft, the advantage goes to Hunt because he outscored Chubb last year. The volume's there for him. Chubb is very injury prone in my opinion, and Hunt could have a pretty darn good year. And they're going to run a ton. The Browns are exciting to a lot of people. I think they have a real chance to have double-digit wins and maybe win a playoff game or two. Some people will say that's disrespectful, that the Browns should be given more credit than that. They're going to be a Super Bowl contender, and they're the best team ever. I get it, but they're the Browns. The Browns are the Browns. I still love what they're doing on the ground in Cleveland, and Hunt could have a big season. ETN gets the nod in Dynasty because he has the potential to be an Antonio Gibson, Alvin Kamara. But we just don't know what we're dealing with yet with Urban Meyer and how he's going to use the running game and how he's going to divide up ETN. ETN's supposed to be a wide receiver this year. I don't even know if that's just coach speak and he's going to be Antonio Gibson used, or if he really will be used just as a wide receiver. Watson, Pollard, or Wentz, Jamar Chase. Easy call. We don't even know what's happening with Watson, man. Watson may never play again. He may. Sitting out may hurt him. He may come back and still never be able to regain his old form and self. We don't know what we're dealing with Watson. I don't love Wentz. I don't want you starting Wentz. I don't know if you have a better option, but Chase is more valuable than Watson and Pollard combined, and I love Pollard. Pollard could win a league, but he's a win-a-league crafty sleeping giant, not a guy you're counting on. Jamar Chase in Dynasty by far. Jay Webb, without a threat of unliking the video, Jay Webb's going to ask a question. I have the 1.2, 1.4, 1.7 on an already defending championship team. He's flexing. Should I reach for Sermon at 1.7 and take Elijah Mitchell late since I already have Gallman? Okay, 7's not reaching for Sermon. You're going to have to pay that for Sermon. I don't think that's reaching at all. Do I like Michael Carter a little more than Sermon? Maybe a little bit right now, but I feel like I'm inching closer to liking Sermon more than Carter off of just the sheer upside if Sermon gets in there. Carter could be in a running back by committee to kick off the year. I think he'll eventually win out. His talent's good, but what if he gets banged up and falls behind? 1.7 all day long. Sermon is not a reach. I don't hesitate. Stop calling it a reach, Webb. But if Devontae Smith's there, you better not pass on Devontae. Devontae is my number 3, and people actually send me messages that say, "Hey, who do I take here at this spot?" And they list off, I'm at 1.7 in a rookie draft. I'm on the clock, and they list off a bunch of decent options that I'm like, okay, I like him. Waddle. Yeah, I'm not super high on Waddle, but I get it. I get where you're coming from. You're talking about Bateman here. Okay, I mean, I don't like him here, but and then they go, and Devontae Smith's there. He's my number 3. I mean, you could argue Pitts, Smith, Pitts. I go back and forth. It's Harris and Chase or Chase and Harris, but it's Devontae Smith and Pitts. It's all 4. But Devontae Smith is arguably my number 3 overall ranked rookie, and these people leave him out. Leonardo, 1.7 for Sermon is a reach. No, it's not. At all, Leonardo. List off who you like over Sermon. It's not a reach. It's not a reach at all, bro. You're going to be paying, like Leonardo, sometimes we're ahead of the curve, bro, here on the show, and it's a lonely road. Maybe we are 1 or 2 spots ahead of what you're looking at, but come draft day, we have the pulse, we have the temperature, we've taken it well, and Sermon will be gaining value, Leonardo, and maybe you're not seeing it in every league, but he most certainly is not a reach at 1.7. 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 in a very novice league where there aren't a lot of draft sharks in the league. They don't know he's coming. So take advantage of Leonardo like you probably have. Your grandma doesn't know what's up in fantasy football yet. Your grandma ain't looking at this stuff like you are, Leonardo. You're watching a year-round show here on the Fantasy Football Show. Your grandma, your cousins, they don't know what's up. They're waiting for magazines to come out next month. So yeah, of course, Grams doesn't know about Sermon. But if you're playing in big boy leagues, people know Sermon's coming. And if you want him, and you don't want someone to get cute and take Sermon before you, you better take him at a big boy 1.07 pick. Because you ain't going to get him at 1.12 with the juice box in your hand, Leonardo. It ain't going to happen. Curtis Samuel or Debo was your second question. I mean, anything can happen. I'm not discrediting the value of a Curtis Samuel. Debo, probably I like a little more, but bro, none of these guys are in my lineup. Neither one of them starting for me on Sundays. I'd rather fill those spots with different guys, but Debo if I had to pick. Okay, Sean, Smitty, do you think Gibson is a trap player now, especially with the big stake in the big stakes leagues? No, Sean, I think Gibson, unless news breaks that Gibby needs surgery, unless news breaks that Gibby's out, I don't care so much about the toe issue right now. Like, it worries me a little bit, okay? And the guy's never been a full-time back at the college level. He literally had 30-something receptions and 30-something carries in all of college. It's crazy. Like, when you hear that, you're like, what? Wait. Repeat that? You mean in 1 year? No. Gibson literally had 30-something rushing attempts and 30-something receptions at the college level, which is good and bad at the same time. Good because, damn, the guy's no mileage. It's like getting a brand new car delivered to you, on a tow truck. It didn't even drive to your house. You didn't even drive your car home. You literally were handed the car, dropped off with 0 miles at your front door. This is Carvana, who should be a sponsor of the show. They're not. Player Vana. This is Player Vana. Anyway, Gibson's not a trap. Is he an injury risk? Yeah. But if he falls from like mid-second round, like 18 overall, 24 overall value into the third round, maybe 4.1, you got risk baked in, baby. Baked right into that bad boy. He's not a trap. Gibson's not a trap. Don't draft him in every league. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You do not want to be left having all your leagues get taken down by one player ever, okay? I'm only doing all eggs in one basket, with like Jefferson, Lamb sometimes. I catch myself, but I can't help myself. I can't help myself, Sean. If this is your guy, which it doesn't sound like it is, I don't blame anybody for doing an all eggs in one basket thing, but my advice, I'm here to try and guide you away from that. Sometimes a therapist, I have a psych degree, okay? No, not from the wall. This is a different degree from Walter Cronkite. I got a psych degree first. That's my first degree. I didn't use it. I use it every day here. I'm a ear for you guys. I listen to you. You tell me your thoughts. You lay on the couch. This is kind of what we're doing here, right? We're using the psychology, but it's a mind game. Fantasy football is a mind game, and a lot of people overreact. A lot of people underreact. You got to use logic. You got to use stats. You got to use predictive stuff, but you also got to use your heart and make the right calls. I don't know where I'm even going with this. Gibson, not a trap. Not a trap. I like him. I like him. Najee Harris in PPR redraft. I've heard this topic a lot. I'll go with Najee Harris because he... Oh, this isn't even a question. Why are you posting this right now? It's okay. You can answer comments in the chat. I'm just joking. League is down on CD, so I can get him with that mid-fifth and Herbert with the other fifth. That would be great, Jack. You know, you're talking to somebody else, but I Smitty approved both of those. CD Lamb shouldn't be dropping to round 5, though. What kind of league you playing with? You playing in the same league that that guy was playing in with Grandma? CD Lamb in round 5? Are you kidding me? How are you getting CD Lamb in round 5? What is your grandma doing? Is your grandma not watching the show? Are you so selfish, Jack, that you don't share the Smitty1.com link with your own grandma that's been there for you, picked you up from school, made you a toasted ham sandwich, cut in 4 squares? Grandma took care of you all those years, and you have the nerve and the selfishness not to spread this link, Smitty1.com, and allow your grandma a fighting chance to play against you as you're in your basement eating those square cut ham sandwiches that grandma just cooked for you? You should be quite ashamed of yourself right now, Jack. Quite ashamed. Contempt of court. No show for you for 1 week, and grandma gets to watch, and not you. Next question. Jack, I do appreciate you. Thoughts on Darnold Mooney? His value going forward? I love Darnold Mooney. We'll put some questions here in the queue. Questions in the queue. I love Darnold Mooney. I think his value is going to go to the moon soon. Mooney to the moon. Mooney to the moon! That phrase has been approved. Mooney to the moon. Don't overdraft him, but he's going like in double-digit rounds. Mooney could be your wide receiver 3. Totally Smitty approved. Leonardo's back. If you were worried about Dobbins and his role with Gus, what type of move would you do to give him away? Great question, Leonardo. What I would do is I'd go to Grandma's roster. I would look for a player like Clyde. And there's a risk there too. Like, you could come at me, Leonardo, and say Clyde's risky. How do you like Clyde? Like, I get it. Like, we all have our players we like. I would go after a Clyde. I would go after cross position, because if you find a team that has a plethora of wide receivers, Leonardo, like a CD Lamb, like a Justin Jefferson more so, because Lamb's lower ranked than JK. You need to get more than Lamb, even though I like Lamb more. Don't tell anybody, Leonardo. That's between you and I. I like Lamb more. But Jefferson would be fantastic if you could pull that off. Maybe JK in a second rounder for a wide receiver if you've got a cross position. But my guess is to get rid of JK at the right price, you gotta figure out how to I think go cross position. Somebody send me their grandma a video clip on Instagram. Go to The Fantasy Football Show on Instagram. And by the way, in the last 12 minutes, anybody that follows me on IG, I'm going to shout you out. So go to The Fantasy Football Show on Instagram and follow me. But I want someone to screen record their grandmother saying something nice or angry about the show. I don't care, either one. And I will put it on the Fantasy Football Show, maybe like right around the intro. Just get Grams in here doing something. Somebody send me their grandma talking about the show. Let's make this a movement. DW is on the clock now. DW, people hate my Cowboys. Regular, but CD Lamb ain't getting the 5th even most of, what? Trying to read this. My Cowboys on draft day in the regular, but CD ain't getting to the 5th even amongst all haters. Okay, yeah, you're right. CD Lamb ain't falling to the 5th round in big boy leagues. Only juice box leagues, bro. Only juice box leagues will CD Lamb fall. Chubb's value in 10-team league Chubb's value in a 10-teamer, and I'm going to shout anybody out that's following me on IG. Steven, thanks for the follow, bro. Appreciate you, Stevie boy. Chubb's value in a 10-team league, PPR. I'm going to say I don't like Chubby boy in the first round. I just don't. As your second drafted player, redraft, I don't mind it. You can't really cuff him. Hunt's going way too high to be a cuff. I worry about him getting hurt. I can't make him my first drafted player. So my answer to you is he can't be your first drafted player, in my mind. You can do whatever you want. But I worry about injury. I worry about the timeshare. I worry about a lot of things with Chubb. He had one of the most gruesome knee injuries in college football history. That's going to eventually, his knees will break down, especially the way that he runs the football, how aggressive he runs, and the overworked between the tackle work that this guy gets. Especially in a 10-teamer, he's not on my top 10. I'm taking JT over him. I'm going back-to-back wide receivers, especially in a 10-team. Let's see you had the 10 pick. You go 2 wide receivers. You take Adams or whoever the hell you want to take with DK. You maybe get Jefferson. You maybe get Clyde and Monty later. You maybe get Clyde and a JK or a Gibson because he falls. There's a lot of ways to fill your running back spot with a guy that I think can compete with Chubb's level of talent and ability to stay healthy. So sum total of points, I think there's a ton of guys in that 3rd, 4th, 5th overall picks in a 10-teamer that you could fill and get yourself a locked and loaded wide receiver, a set of them at 10 and 11 or whatever pick you have. Next question. Is Odell Beckham Jr. out of his prime? Where would you have him fall in order to pick him? I'm refreshing IG. If you follow me, I will shout you out. G. I don't know how to say your username, but thank you for the follow, quadruple G. Odell Beckham Jr., I'm not banking on at all. I'm out. I mean, if he fell to like my wide receiver 3-4, which I don't think he will, I would take a shot on him, but I'm not expecting anything. I'm not excited about him. I'm not expecting anything. I forgot he even existed until you posted this question, Miles. He's out of my mind, off my mind. He's blown my... We don't have trust. Odell and I don't have a trusting relationship anymore. I'm just not going near him. He's not falling anywhere near where it makes sense for me to draft him. Thoughts on Fitzmagic, Damon? So no on Odell. Thoughts on Fitzmagic? I love him for 10 games, but can he stay healthy for 16? I don't think so, bro. But I love him for McLaurin. I love him for this Washington offense. I think the Washington football team getting Fitzpatrick. I was a little worried about this offense before they acquired him. Once they got Fitzmagic, my win-loss record prediction changed dramatically for Washington. Washington's looking like a 10-11 win team minimum with that defense and with Gibson. And Heineke, I kind of like Heineke, bro. Like if Fitzmagic went down, he's not replacing Fitzy Boy, but if Fitzy Boy went down after his usual 10 games, the beard is heavy. You know, heavy is the head that wears the beard. And Fitz, his head's a little, held down. 10 games is about what he does. If he stayed healthy, though, man, Fitzy's going to do well. Fitzy's good. Fitzy's a great second QB in a 2 QB league where you went dirt cheap at your QB2. Like you forgot it was a 2 QB league. And you're like, shoot, I got to draft somebody. And then Fitzy's sitting there because he's so old, no one wants anything to do with him. Elijah Moore, a wide receiver 3 flex option in 2021. Certainly could be. Very low end. Like don't over-invest. In Dynasty, I like him a lot. In redraft, I don't over-invest. Like we're talking wide receiver 4 that could potentially turn into a flex for you, but you don't want to be drafting him to be. He's going to be slow moving out the gate, all that garbage. Typhoon, what's up, Smitty? I see ya. Keep grinding. Approved. Tyler Lockett, intriguing wide receiver 3. And he's so disrespected, you can get him there. So I approve that. I approve Tyler Lockett in a very experimental wide receiver 3 role in your fantasy football 2021 career. What are some thoughts on later round QB2 targets in Superflex. I'll tell you, bro. Order, you want some? Here you go. Looking down the long list of quarterbacks, we're talking like 20 plus. We're looking at Taysom Hill, Fitzmagic. That's it. There ain't a lot of deep options, bro. I like Taysom Hill a ton. I think Taysom Hill is not expected to start by many. And even if he doesn't start, guess what he's doing? He's vulturing. Guess what he's doing? Preparing as the team's starting quarterback all offseason long. And if he doesn't win the job, at the very least, he's coming in between the 20 and the goal line to vulture a lot of Winston's work. Taysom Hill is a very sneaky QB2 in Superflex, and Fitzpatrick's getting overlooked. Jackie Boy has another question. Akers, Najee. Jack, I like your attitude too. You know, I came at your grandma league strong, and you're still here, bro. You're still here. Grilled cheese and all. Like, I appreciate Jack. Jack gets the award of the show for being resilient. Not giving up with his questions and getting his way onto the show constantly. Jack, let's give Jack a round of applause. Attaboy, Jack. Appreciate you. Akers, Najee, Harris, CEH, McLaurin, CD, good start. Traded some later 8, 9, 10 picks to move up. You used the Smitty trade-up technique, didn't you, Jack? You jack of all trades. Akers, Najee, Clyde, McLaurin, CD. That's a good flex, bro. We like it. We like it. Looks pretty good. Looks like an 8-man league. You're dominating there, bro. Smitty approved, Jack. Grandma lost all the love again. Grandma, everybody send me a clip of their grandma screaming at me or promoting the show. Either way. Can you guys hear that water turn on? Just curious. Next question. I'm pretty resilient with the beating you give me, Smitty. Matt's pretty resilient too. Let's give Matt a little love too. Matt, here you go. Matty boy. Andrew Silva dropping in with the super. Attaboy Silva. Silva says, Waller or Akers as a 6th round keeper. Bro, I'm an Akers, not doubter. I'm an Akers optimistically challenged person. And I'll tell you, just for trade value alone, Akers by a long mile. Number one, Andrew, the odds of drafting Akers back over Waller are slim to none, unless this is like an 8-point per reception tight end league or a mandatory 7 tight end starting lineup. Like, Akers is going in the top 12. But I trade him. I keep him and I trade him. I trade him for a Jefferson. I cross position this bad boy. But Akers as a 6th rounder, even if you can't get rid of him at a high value, that's a no risk proposition, man. That builds in all the risk I'm concerned about. And if he's a top 5 to 10 running back at 6th round value, Andrew, you will crush it. So easy call. And I appreciate your super chat. Matt, I'm sorry I'm hard on you, Matt. Bring the thunder, bro. You know, I think, Matt, the reason I'm hard on you is you've come at me on a few occasions, bro. You've come at me hard on a couple topics, so I think I just let you know how I felt about the topic. I don't come at you. What's your take on DJ Moore and Claypool? Who would you pick and why? I don't love either option. I like them. I like both options kind of equally. Number one, Roethlisberger is declining in talent. Okay, Big Ben is declining in talent. He's got 3 options. He's got to divide the workload to, and they're going to run more than they've ever run. Claypool is the most likely to get touchdowns. DJ Moore is a guy that I think could emerge, but we don't know how he's going to build rapport with his new quarterback. Will he have some bumps in the road trying to do so and build that rapport? Will he be used properly? We haven't quite seen him be ultra consistent, so I'd probably say DJ Moore over Claypool. I think DJ Moore has the best opportunity to maybe climb into like low-end wide receiver 1 numbers, but you expect a lot less, right? Don't pay wide receiver numbers for DJ Moore. But I'm going to say DJ Moore's got more value than Claypool, but I do kind of like Claypool the most of those Pittsburgh running back or wide receivers. So people don't like that answer when I say Claypool, but DJ Moore in this situation. All right, last question. Keeper league. Saquon or Adams? I think you gotta keep Saquon. I think I wouldn't hate on you taking Adams, but Adams is a little older wide receiver. They both could have the same amount of time though, because running backs have a short shelf life. But I feel like the value, the trade value alone in Saquon is more than Adams. So therefore, because of that aspect, you can trade him. I like Saquon more. He's going to get drafted higher, so that's an easy call. Even though I love both of them, you wouldn't be crazy to keep Adams, but I just think you can get rid of Saquon more. Last question already. I'll be back next time. I'll throw your question up real quick, bro. Here we go. Last question. Mid-second round. Take it. That's not your question. Where's your question? Ask your question. Hurry. You've got 60 seconds, bro. I'm starting the timer over one more time. Thank you, Damon. Smitty approved comment. Smitty approved comment. I'm waiting. Sports, this is your last second. Dude, you skipped 4 times. Where's your question, boys? All right. Maybe because your question's so long. You know I don't put up long questions, bro. I skip right over them. What grade would you give me in my 12-team Superflex Dynasty full PPR startup currently at the end of round 6? I have Lawrence, Etienne, Lamb, Judy, Ayuk, Pitts, and Fields. Lawrence, Etienne, Lamb, Judy, Ayuk, Pitts. I like it, Fields. It's kind of one of those teams, bro, that once it develops, you're going to have a lot more of a higher ranking for me. Right now, you've got a lot of developmental guys and pieces involved there. Etienne's, I like him a lot, but he's also a big question mark. I love Lamb. I love Lawrence. I love Judy. I love Pitts. I mean, this team could look like a powerhouse in 2 years, but it might be slow moving out the gate for you. But once you get going, I like it. You know, trade, voice of reason, try and trade for one more, try and give up a future first rounder. Although be careful because, you know, if you have like a bad year or something, you could be giving away a good pick or whatever. But I think if you got a good player in addition to this, like if you were able to get like a Clyde, you were able to get a Harris somehow using a future first rounder and something, you could turn this team into a both now and future team. Whereas of right now, I'm going to give you that future label. You know, you just need a couple things to happen in order to turn it into a now team. Last question from sports is Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones. Give your ranking in order. I'm going to go in redraft. I'm going to go... God, this is crazy because my ranking doesn't really match where the ADPs are. So I'm going to say Aaron Jones in redraft, 1. Eckler 2, Chubb 3. I know that's not going to sit well with a lot of you. I'm just not a big Chubb. Silva with the super chat, extending it one more round of music. Silva. I appreciate you. In Dynasty, I'm going to go. I might go the same ranking, bro. It's tough. I'm not a big Chubb believer. I know he's talented, but I fear that he's going to get hurt. Silva says Logan Thomas will be a top tight end or late pickup. Yeah, Logan Thomas was the number 3 overall tight end in 2020 fantasy football. Tunyon was number 4. Tunyon had 11 TDs. Logan Thomas was number 3. Don't discredit either tight end because both of them appear to be going like in, I don't know, like the 7, 8, 9, 10 round range. Like you could find Tunyon in double-digit rounds, yet he had 11 TDs and was number 4 for all tight ends in 2021. I love Robert Bobby Boy Tunyon in 2021. Logan Thomas will go anywhere between round 8, 9, or 10. He's got great value there. I don't. I feel like these are the 2 most overlooked tight ends in 2021. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I will see you all later. Austin, I'm working on my rap for you guys, my Austin brothers. Get everything over at smitty1.com. That's where all my content is. My YouTube channel link, all my links to my podcast, everything all in one place at smitty1.com. And don't forget, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday, 2-hour show every Tuesday and Thursday. And don't forget to order my text message service at heysmitty.com. You want me to text you advice? I'm helping tons of people draft right now. Go to heysmitty.com. And one more question from Rush with a super chat. Rush says, hey Smitty, Barkley for Akers. Look, this is a tough one. I wouldn't be shocked if Akers was better than Barkley if he could stay healthy and get all the volume. My concern is that McVay consistently doesn't do what you think he'll do with his running backs, and he's done so since the decline of Gurley. And everyone thought that they were going to lean on Akers early on in the year, and they didn't. Then Akers got hurt. Like, there's a reason Akers didn't do anything until the final weeks of the season. And you got to ask yourself, are we going to see something like that during the year? Are we going to see a timeshare? Are all you, and I'm not trying to tell you that Darrell Henderson's going to be great in 2021. I'm not holding on to the fact that I like Darrell Henderson a ton in the past and they never used him. I'm not using that at all. I'm very unbiased about this. I'm not talking up Hendy at all. Look at all my content. But if you think that there's not a shot, they don't do some kind of 60-40 split, and then if Henderson gets hot and Akers gets a little banged up, that they won't do some weird rotation on you, you got another thing coming. Like, so I'm cautious, but at the same time, Barkley's coming off an ACL injury. I would say trust your gut. They're very, very close, especially in Dynasty, because Akers is just getting going. Barkley's had a lot of injuries and is not a spring chicken, but does go in the top 2 or 3 in Dynasty startups, bro. So you got to ask the question, do you believe in one long term? And if not, which one has more trade value? And then make your decision from there. But Rush, honestly, man, it's like a 50-50 thing. There's risk on both sides of this equation. And you kind of got to just go with your gut, because you're the one that's got to start them. And I don't want to sway you when I'm 50-50 myself. I appreciate your super chat, bro. Appreciate all your super chats and contributions to the show. Please spread the word. Tell your grandmas. Smitty1.com. Get them over here. And again, order my text service. On-demand texting. I have where's my phone? It's over here. I can get it with my foot. This is my personal phone. This is my text phone. I literally carry around another phone with me all the time to help you guys with your advice. Look at AP28. I'm sending AP28 a message right now. What's up, bro? Are you watching? I'm live. I'm just saying hi to you on the live stream right now to prove that I'm texting with all of my people on my texting service that you can find at heysmitty.com. Yes, this is live. And if you want to rewatch this, bro, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes into the show when I'm talking to you. My boy. I just sent a live message, a live text to one of my heysmitty.com loyal members. That's how we roll. Smitty will answer all first day comments. That's true. So yeah, thanks for reminding me, Kenny. So once this video posts, I will answer all the comments pretty much that happened in day 1. So when this video posts, ask me a question in the comments and I will answer every one of you in day 1. All the early comments, sometimes day 2, sometimes day 3. If you ask me a question as soon as the video posts it helps the engagement of the actual video, and YouTube will then push it to more people. So I will be looking for your comments as soon as the video ends. And I told you I'd shout out anybody that followed me on IG. Kane, thank you for following. Triple, quadruple, or whatever. G, Steven, Mike, and Tank. I appreciate all you. Catch you later on Tuesday, and I'll have some more videos this